Ladies and gentlemen, we see PLTR nearly fall about 10% as Palantir Technologies just closes underneath $15 after analysts have made some big major changes to the stock. We're going to be talking about this, especially as we most recently described a number to beware about, especially with Palantir, that does regard some of the valuation that investors are putting on to the actual stock versus the actual fundamentals of the business. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just a guy on YouTube doing research and sharing the information with you guys, trying to learn and grow together. So hit that like button, subscribe, and I can't thank you guys enough for supporting a smaller content creator. So let's get into it, talk about PLTR, and really talk about what has happened and where the future could possibly lie for Palantir Technologies. Now, if we pop it up on the screen right here, Palantir Technologies closes at $14.98. And you can see right here, as this market did open, Palantir had that nice influx. We saw confidence bringing it from about that 15 bucks, getting up here to the 16.35, possibly after, remember, Google was having their big announcement with their conference. Many different AI type announcements were made, bringing a lot of, I want to say, eyes and attention that can bring buying pressure and confidence into the markets. What we saw was many different AI stocks, not just the top blue chip stocks, but some of the smaller ones like Palantir, C3.ai, things like that, had a little bit of buying pressure. Market opens for that next day. Boom, we see a quick correction here back into the 14s, and you see stabilization as Palantir basically has a volume of about 100 million with a market cap right now at about 32 billion. The question is, where does Palantir go from here? And important here, let's zoom out and really take a look at where Palantir has been sitting. You can see if we zoom out here just in the recent past and kind of let's get into the day chart right here, see where Palantir has really focused is basically that 1375, high 13s, basically 14s, is a strong level of support that Palantir does need to rely on, just my perspective off of trading history. And what we do see is if Palantir comes down and fails that support level at about that 1375, we could test some support here, maybe at the 10s. However, most of the foundational support through 2022 was really built here at about this $6 to $7. Now, we did have the AI craze come into the beginning of the year, especially with ChatGPT. AI has really become viral across the internet, and that's where you start to see this explosion here, basically in May, that takes Palantir from $7 up to $20, basically before they had their last earnings. That brought it back to around this zone right here. So the question is, where does Palantir go from here? Now, one big thing that we did have happen with Palantir Technologies today is we had a Wall Street and a very reputable Wall Street analyst that was skeptical about how Palantir Technologies will be able to monetize its AIP program, basically its artificial intelligence program, and downgrading the stock. Now, basically, this Morgan Stanley analyst, Keith right here, believes that some of the euphoria is overdone. This article comes from Motley Fool right here, but also Yahoo Finance does a good article covering it. That basically says Morgan Stanley, this analyst, changes their actual optimism around Palantir in the way that possibly they could actually monetize the AI drive. And with the challenges at monetizing this type of AI program, this could drive the share price down more than possibly 40%. Now, talking about that and what happened with that is that the actual Palantir stock, it was downgraded. The stock actually went to an underweight from an equal weight, warning mostly because of these lack of these monetization strategies. And with that being said, that while Palantir has came down, it's becoming with the valuation to that point where it's an unfavorable risk to reward setup for investors. Basically saying if investors come in right now and buy some Palantir, there's much higher risk at losing money due to that valuation currently if they're going to possibly have struggles with monetization. And vice even more right here, the analyst that Palantir appears very early that the company has clearly communicated that it has yet to determine these monetization strategies. So bringing this, there is a risk right here. And if you see, especially on Seeking Alpha, they do get an F for the price to earnings in terms of their valuation right now at 108, and with their non-GAAP forward is at 71.84. So valuation right now, especially at the current price, is very high for Palantir. And if there's a little bit of any cool down in the markets, if anything changes like that, then you could easily have corrections that could, like I said, be too risky for possible investors that to come in. So the fact that the company does trade at 12 times its expected sales and more than 50 times its expected earnings, meaning that a lot of people are still bullish and putting a lot of confidence into the actual future growth expectations behind PLTR. But with that being said, we also have Wall Street that the Federal is actually whispering warnings. And what we had at the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, was basically they have issued and they have told some lenders to strengthen liquidity positions and that their favorite inflation gauge ticks up year on year. And they actually issued numerous private warnings to banks with assets of 100 to 250 billion, basically telling them, hey, strengthen their liquidity because there's going to be tighter supervision coming. So with that being said, could there also be some bearish potential in terms of the whole stock market, not just for PLTR? So the question is possibly, could PLTR come back here and test down this $6 to $7? And with that being said, that could more likely be a buy situation and have less of a high risk to reward. So personally, I'll be keeping PLTR on my watch list. I think it's an interesting stock and a great company. It has a lot of reputation behind its business, especially with those governmental contracts that do bring credibility and helps bring diversification to be more attractive for different types of public companies to basically utilize their AI products for data analytics. But right now, I'll be watching PLTR and keeping you guys updated as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and let's talk. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about PLTR? Where are you guys at with it? Is it on your watch list, a buy, or is it sell? And what do you want to see in future videos? Take care, and I hope you enjoyed.